Wow, I don't really know where to start except to say that this is a really, really important and momentous day for me, both personally and actually professionally, because I still consider myself as a police officer. I think first of all I have to say that my first meeting with Gary and Malcolm, understandably, my opening comments were that, you know, I'm hoping for the best, but I'm expecting the worst, because my trust in the establishment has been destroyed over the past 15 years. But I am actually blown away by their integrity, by their honesty, commitment, and also that of Andy and Bev in fighting to have this review published. I'm sure it'll be no surprise to you to learn that GMP, even after all this time, have spent the past year trying to prevent this from being published, and again trying to bury the truth. And the question I would ask everybody listening today is to consider is, what is the real cost of all these lies? 15 years, the perpetrators that we knew on Operation Augusta were abusing generations of children, were allowed to walk free. The kids themselves that I spoke to, I was on Operation Augusta, I wrote the report. Those children were just cast to the wind, left to their own devices. Nobody cared about them. And I am talking about the people at the top of the police and at social services, the chief constable, assistant chief constables, head of social services, the people who knew the facts, who knew the truth, and they chose to bury the truth. That, in my opinion, is unforgivable. They swore the same oath of attestation as I did. Every chief constable promises to act with integrity, to uphold the law, to tell the truth. All those principles went out of the window. And the question that I would raise is, why are those people not facing charges of misconduct in a public office? Where is the accountability? They should be put in front of a court of law in the same way that I would be if I had failed to investigate a criminal damage. These rapes were never recorded, and that is a failure. And it isn't a mistake, it was a deliberate and intentional desire to bury the truth. This has been 15 years of my life. It has almost destroyed me. I've lost my job, I've lost my home, I've lost my health. Joan has lost her granddaughter. All those children that we knew were being abused were cast aside. How many more children have those abusers abused in 15 years? It is unforgivable. And this report makes me feel vindicated. It actually gives me a sense of closure. And actually, the fact that these four people sitting here have made this public makes me want to sing from the rooftops, to be honest, because I never thought this day would come. When I spoke to them, I actually believed it was just another process, another tick in a box, but they have actually proved me wrong. This is phase 1, and I promise you that when they look at phase 2, which is Operation Span, they will find the same cover-ups, the same failures. This is a pattern. And you know, how strange that today, when we have this momentous press conference, GMP have chosen to hold their own, when they will try and tell everybody what a great job they are now doing, how things have changed, how kids are no longer failed. Well, I can tell you that the messages that I receive every day on my emails, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, will tell a very different story. There are still desperate people out there who don't know where to turn. We need to continue with this path for change. This is just the start of it. It is not the end. You know, this is about accountability. It is about consequences for people in high places who allow things like this to happen. Perhaps the public watching may think that there are very many similarities here with what is going on now with Prince Andrew, with Jeffrey Epstein, with Harvey Weinstein. You know, we've come to a watershed moment and we have to make a choice. Are we going to allow the people in these positions of power, in positions of trust, to betray the public time and time again? And I would say we mustn't. We must use our voices, however difficult it is. You know, I've set up my own foundation, the Maggie Oliver Foundation now, which I really didn't want to do, but there are so many people who have nowhere to go. We have to make a difference. It's a lonely road when you step outside your job and your life. And I can't really explain what it's done to me. I'm not the same person. But I actually feel very proud of myself today that, you know, I've dug deep and my children know that I've told the truth, but now everybody else knows as well, and that makes me feel that the journey's been worth it. I think I'll hand over to Joan now, because her story is personal, and the letter that went in the front of the Operation Augusta report was a picture of Victoria, because the small team that were Operation Augusta at the beginning, we were good officers and we were doing our best. And we put Victoria's photograph at the front of that report because that was the human consequence of not addressing this abuse. That report went to the Gold Command group in GMP. They turned away from it. When I first tried to speak out, Peter Fowey accused me of being a woman who had become too emotionally involved, who had lost the plot. Misogynistic comments, you might say the old boys network, it's power and control, and we need to smash that. But Joan's journey has been a very personal one, and I'm really I think it's brilliant she's here today, and she's very nervous, but she's going to speak out on behalf of Victoria. Are you okay with that, Joan?
Hello, I'm Joan Agoglia, Victoria's grandmother. My three children, Kim, Donna and Tracy, are my daughters, and we all had to go through this. But the story started really when my daughter, Donna, she was my second child, she got brain cancer, and she was very, very poorly for a long time. We were there back and forward to hospitals and to Christie's. And they did try to help, but Victoria, the eldest one of them all, she was like a little mother hen. She looked after her brother and sisters when they all came to me. They all going to the other aunties. And she was trying to look after us all. And it wasn't her job for this. She was a child. She was only 8. And then when Donna died, I was there. I was there held in hand, because the day before all the children had come in to see her, because they told her it was any time now. After this, Donna said to the social services it would be better for them to take the children until we decided what we wanted to do. We didn't want the children in care. I wanted the children. You might think, how can I do it? But I can. There's lots of people that have children that don't see or don't hear or are disabled. They still do it. And I knew I could have done it. I loved my babies. And Victoria, she was so good. You couldn't believe a child could do these sorts of things. Anyway, when they went into care, Michael, that's not Victoria's father. Victoria was about 5 or 6 before she met Michael. He was a horrible, horrible drug addict. And I don't care even if his family knows what he is. Anyway, at the time she died, he was already in prison for quite a while. And he got in touch with her to ask her to marry him so he could have the kids. And I told him there was no way. I'd fight him all the way. He was not going to get the children. They should have been with me. Anyway, Michael got her to believe that he would get the children, even though I did try to tell her, but you couldn't talk at this moment, talking to her. My daughter that was dying didn't understand. She just thought it was good because Michael would take them on, but it wasn't. Michael made a report to the police that he wanted to marry her, and they said the only way they could do that was in the prison. And Donna didn't tell me at this time. None of us knew at all. She went up there herself and married Michael in the prison because he told us so many lies. He's such a nasty, nasty man. But saying that, he's dead now. And I am pleased he's dead. He died in a fight when it came out. Most of it was over the kids. He just went wild. Well, that's the sort of man he was. And I don't regret what I say about him. I'm glad he's dead. And he can't touch these children again. Anyway, Victoria came back when she was around 8. She wanted to see me, and she wanted to see her aunties. And she came back, and Tracy brought her up to the house, and it was marvellous. It really was. She was such a lovely girl. She was long blonde hair, like all of us had. Donna was very, very dark. She took after the Italian side of the family, and she was very dark. She looked funny in the middle of them 3, but she was a wonderful girl. She had bad points, a lot of them. But she didn't deserve to die with nastiness, and that's what happened. Anyway, they went to court, which I wasn't asked to go. Michael wouldn't have me there. He didn't want it because of what I was going to say. So I didn't go and waited for the outcome. And I didn't get any outcome. Nobody came to me. They never came, the social never came. I kept on telling them and telling them and telling them, and they won't listen. None of them listened to me. They never said they were sorry. They never even came to see me. They never even came to see Donna when she was in the hospital. They never did nothing. Not one little thing. I didn't even get a little explanation. Nothing of them. They just wanted the children. So when Michael was refused to get the children, which I told him, he would never have got them children, and I would never, ever let him have Victoria. Anyway, he never got the children, which I was glad of. And the last time after I heard it that Vicky said that she wouldn't be adopted. She was at that age group that she thought she could help herself because she was a mother hen. She really, when we used to go to the parks in the summer, and she'd always take the kids in the trolley and play with them. She was a wonderful little girl. But then they said it got out that the children had to be adopted. So I did have a social worker or a lady come to see me. And I said I wanted the children to be put together because they've never been split up. Baby Rebecca was only a few months old, and she was born well too early, so she was a little bit. How do you say that word? Like retarded or a bit slower than the other children.
Why don't you say about the inquest? Tell them what happened with the inquest, Joan. Okay?
What about?
Remember when you wanted to go to the inquest?
Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah. This is going back a little bit now because they had an inquest on Vicky, but they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me anything. I only found out when I told them I wanted to bury my granddaughter myself, just me and the family, because it was that right to do this. It was disgusting, because the woman said yes, she will respect what I said, and the family said.
Joan, what would you like to say to Malcolm and Gary and the team for this report? How does it make you feel now?
It makes me still feel really wonderful. I've been fighting for these all my life for this. All my life, it seems. And I've had the police down lying to me, and I've told them they were liars. I've had care workers come down and social services come down. But where were they? Where were they? When my daughter was dying and Victoria was being abused, I told them, and I told them. Vicky came down time and time again to me. I told them that she was with me, and they kept on saying she was running away. Most of the time she was with me. And she told me herself what these men had done to her. She stayed for a while, and I used to give her a bath because she was so bruised. Underneath of a part of her private parts, there was, you couldn't believe it. They were even bugging her, and as well. And she told me about this. She told me that she was being beaten, and they were.
I think really that's a little example of the human consequences of not protecting children. Is that everything you want to say, Joan? Just that this is, you feel now that Victoria can rest in peace.
No, I can't feel that she's rest in peace. I promised her I had her cremated, and then I had her interned with her mother in her grave that I did. And I promised her mother that there was no way they're going to get away with it. I had to fight all this time. And I promised Victoria, when I buried next to her mother, she could not go until we got the results, what we needed. So Vicky's still around, and I've not been able to give her the satisfaction I'm going to heaven, yes. And it's all my fault for this.
It's not at all, Joan. And I just want to say sorry to you that it's taken so long for you to be able to have this moment. And you've spoken up for her today so brilliantly and so passionately. And I'm just sorry you've had to wait so long to be able to have this opportunity to do that.